All right, let's talk about two of the biggest names in the game, Amazon and Alibaba. Now, on the surface, you'd think they're just two giants battling for the same online shopping crown. But as we're about to see, the way they operate, their whole philosophy, they're practically from different planets. So let's get into it.
So you really have to ask yourself, are these two even playing the same sport? I mean, we all think of them as places to buy stuff online, but the truth is, it's way more complicated than that. And this gets right to the heart of what makes each of these companies tick.
And to answer that, we've got to start with the most fundamental difference of all. Who are they actually for? Because this one single distinction, well, it changes everything else about how they're built.
Okay, so here's the simplest way to think about it. Amazon is basically a giant global store. It's a business-to-consumer, or B2C company. That's where you and I go to buy, one book or a new phone case. Alibaba, though, started out as a business-to-business, or B2B platform. So think of it less like a store and more like a massive wholesale market where a company goes to buy 500 of those phone cases to then sell in their own shops.
But, it's never really that simple, is it? Both of these giants have started to step into each other's backyards. Alibaba has these huge consumer websites like Tmall and Taobao that absolutely dominate in China. And on the flip side, Amazon has its own B2B marketplace called Amazon Business. So yeah, they have their main focus, but their ambitions are definitely starting to overlap.
And that focus on different markets leads to a pretty mind-blowing difference in scale. Look at this. Alibaba has nearly 1 billion active buyers, mostly in China. That's just staggering. Now, that doesn't mean Amazon is small by any stretch, but it really shows you the insane size of the market that Alibaba commands.
Okay, so they target different people, but how does that actually turn into cash? If you follow the money, you find two completely different playbooks.
On a basic level, their entire philosophies are opposites. Amazon is what you'd call asset-heavy. It wants to own the whole process. We're talking massive warehouses, a growing fleet of planes and trucks, and a lot of the time, the products themselves. Alibaba, it's asset-light. It doesn't own the warehouses or the inventory. It's just the platform, the digital middleman that connects everyone and gives them the tools to trade.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Amazon makes its money like a classic retailer, from selling things directly and taking commissions. But its real moneymakers, subscriptions like Amazon Prime, and of course, its huge cloud computing wing, AWS. Alibaba is a different beast entirely. Since it's not selling the products, it makes money by charging sellers for things like advertising and other services. And a huge piece of the pie is its powerful financial arm, Alipay.
So these different models, owning everything versus just owning the platform, have a huge impact on how they operate around the world. At the end of the day, e-commerce is about moving actual, physical things from point A to point B. So, how do they pull it off? Well, first, let's look at where they play. It's pretty clear-cut. Amazon is the king in the US and Europe. It's got a massive chunk of that market. Alibaba, meanwhile, just completely dominates Asia, especially its home turf in China. They really do operate in their own distinct spheres of influence. And how they handle logistics really tells the whole story. Amazon is all about control. It's got hundreds of fulfillment centers, its own cargo airline. It wants to manage the whole journey, which is why it can offer things like Fulfilled by Amazon. Alibaba, sticking to its platform model, doesn't handle the shipping directly. It relies on a partner logistics company, and it's up to the individual sellers to store and ship their own stuff.
Now, all that control that Amazon has, it builds something incredibly valuable: trust. When you buy on Amazon, you feel confident. You know that if there's a problem, their customer service, easy returns, and fast refunds have got your back. And that feeling of safety, that's a massive competitive advantage. So, we've looked at their models, their reach, but what does this all mean if you're a small business owner? Let's flip the script and look at it from a seller's point of view. You've got a product. Where do you go?
Each one has some pretty sweet advantages. If you sell on Amazon, you get to tap into that trusted brand name right away, and you can let them handle all the shipping and storage headaches with FBA. It's a great way to just get started. Alibaba, on the other hand, gives you access to a mind-boggling amount of traffic and some really powerful marketing tools, especially if you have a ton of different products to sell.
But, and there's always a but, there are big trade-offs. On Amazon, you're fighting for attention with almost 2 million other sellers, you're paying some hefty commission fees, and here's the kicker. The customers are Amazon's, not yours. You can't build a direct relationship. And over on Alibaba, it's expensive just to get in the door, with annual fees starting in the thousands. The competition is still brutal, and just like Amazon, you don't get to own your customer data.
So after putting all these pieces together, who they sell to, how they make money, how they ship things, what it's like for a seller, we can finally boil it all down into two really clear ideas.
Amazon is just that, an all-in-one retail machine. It's this perfectly tuned, vertically integrated giant that wants to control every single step of the shopping journey, from the moment you click buy all the way to that box landing on your porch.
Alibaba, though, it's a completely different concept. It's a sprawling commerce network. It's not trying to be the store, it's providing the digital infrastructure, the marketplace, the payment system, the marketing tools that lets millions of other businesses run their own stores.
So if there's one thing you take away from all this, it's this. Amazon wants to be the store, the one-stop shop for everything. Alibaba wants to build the mall, giving everyone else the tools they need to open up their own shops inside it. One is the retailer, the other is the ecosystem.
And that leaves us with one last really fascinating question. As our world gets more and more connected, what happens next? Are these two totally different models going to eventually clash for global domination? Will they just keep to their own sides of the world? Or will they start to look more and more like each other? The entire future of e-commerce could honestly depend on that answer.